bookshelf is going to go. This is what I was trying to draw or show on the whiteboard last time. So there's a fireplace here, and then the trim. We're not taking out the trim because in case the bookshelf ever comes out. So what we're going to do is make the main frame go in between this point and this point, which is the farthest out, and then we'll either take out the quarter round or else just notch around it. I probably might have to take it out, I'm not sure, but so I've got that measurement, and then it's just gonna be, and then I just add blocks, some kind of shim blocks here, and then attach it to the wall. So that will be how it's going to get installed. And then I'll add trim on the sides to cover, to add trim, cover our dado joints, and also it'll get scribed around. I'll take a profile of this and just cut the trim piece to match or to fit in there, so that'll kind of cap it off. And then on this one, the top shelf is going to be all the way back to the wall. So I need to add at least an inch back there and maybe an inch out here for an overhang. And then the idea is maybe later we add another one right on top of it. So anyway, that's where it's going. What's going on, guys? Welcome back. So you saw the intro, which was the all right, anyway, you saw the picture of where this is going. So simply all we're doing is making a bookshelf. This is a real simple frame, and these shelves are determined by our location. The bottom one is going to be set where this base can cover and maybe come just to the shelf with about an 1/8 inch reveal, so something about 3.5 inches or 4 inches, something like that. So anyway, this is just a simple layout. These are going to be dado joints. We're going to cut those on the radial arm saw, and then later the trim. We're going to install it inside that opening. Here's the base, and then so we're going to put shim blocks, much smaller than this. Shim blocks here's to the wall. Attach those with screws, and then so it's getting installed. The trim covers this, gets notched, scribed around the base. So then there's baseboard here, and we have a trim. We got a trim board here, and then the top shelf is going all the way to the wall and back. All the way, which is an extra inch for the base. There's baseboard that goes around back here, so that's an extra inch, plus I might add an inch in the front, which would be like an overhang, and then later we might add another bank of shelves on top of that to fill the space. So that's all we're doing today, is building the basic carcass frame. So I'm going to take the sideboards and just do our layout for the first shelf, and then I think there's 12 inches in between, second shelf, third, fourth, and then the top is going to be we'll have to glue a piece, make that a little bigger and everything. So anyway, that's what we're doing. We're going to go ahead and square up one of these ends on the boards, and then do our layout, and then we'll set up a dado blade and cut all the dados. Then just we'll size the shelves. We got shelves over here, and glue it all together. All right. Okay, I'm gonna just joint these quickly because we have it's not a perfect straight line, and I really want a nice straight reference edge so we get square cuts on the dados. Okay, so now I have a nice straight edge, jointed edge here. Then I'm going to cut a little bit off the bottom just to give me a square starting point, and then I'm going to mark out the layout on on both boards for the shelves. Okay, so we got a jointed edge. I decided to cut these down to 11 1/4. These were 12 inch, full 12 inch, and they're 3/4 thick, 3/4 inches. We bought these, they're project panels. They were like in plastic, pre-made, just because they're decently straight and nice wood. Better than buying 1x12. So we're gonna go ahead and cut them now, just to 11 1/4, so they match our shelf material. Reference face, we rejointed some of these just so they're nice and straight. I'm going to put the reference faces together, and because I'm going to cut the other cuts, the dados, off those reference faces, and so I'm going to just put these both together. I've checked that with a machinist square, this saw is cutting nice and square. So that's good. And then, so our bottom shelf, we're gonna have this base trim. It's 4 1/4 inches. So we're gonna have, we're gonna add a little bit to it just in case the floor is not level. So I'll measure this, but this is 4 1/4. So we'll add 1/4 inch to that. So our first shelf. Okay, so we're gonna put the bottom. So this is gonna be the bottom. And so this is just this is gonna be a layout of all the shelves. Bottom one, our base is 4 1/4. We're gonna add an 1/8 inch to that, so 4 1/8, and that's actually to the top of this shelf. So I'll backtrack from that, about 3/4 of an inch. So that's the bottom shelf. And then from, maybe I'll cut an inch, and then, anyway, so from the top of this shelf to the next shelf, I think there's 12 inches in between. So then from here on up, it's just 12 inches. So I mark 12 inches, and then another 3/4, and then so that's the shelf. This is the shelf, and then just go again from the top of the shelf up 12 inches. And then 3/4, and that's how we're doing the layout. So this is gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5 shelves. 5th one might be the top board. I have to check, but our overall height is gonna be somewhere around 5 feet. All right, so after a little scrutinizing, we've got our layout. We changed the top dimension just a little bit to account for the trim. Basically the trim was gonna cover the opening. But anyway, we got our overall length. We're gonna go ahead and just cut those off, and then we'll switch to a dado blade on this, and go ahead and cut all the grooves for the shelves. now we're going to go ahead and put the dado blades on this radial arm saw. And I've unplugged the saw. These things can be a little... Okay, got that off. Take that blade off. And what I'm going to do is I'm trying to keep our shelves as big as thick as possible for strength. So I'm going to stack basically all the everything I have here. So it's going to end up a little bit over 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to hook up this big old dado blade on here with all my shims and put them on the right way. So line everything. So this is kind of the whole reason I got this saw. The first place was to make easy dado joints, just like this for shelving or for this is the outside one. Line up the teeth so they don't hit anything. But the whole reason I got this saw was for this reason, and I was just thinking you can do tenons on this also. So that should just be over, it's going to end up being over 3/4. But the reason, this is one of the reasons, I love this saw. It works great when the table's cleared off, which is why I had to reorganize everything again. But of course I'm missing the right fence, but that's okay, I'll cut through that. So this saw works really well for quick cutting all kinds of material, and especially if you're cutting a whole bunch of the same thing, this saw works great. And also for this reason. So what I do is just eyeball. I'm not worried about setting exactly perfect. So when I cut this, I just eyeball the marks and just center it right in between there, and then make the cut. And I'll take a scrap piece and set this to basically cutting about half this material thickness, or a little less. It doesn't need to be a full 3/8, so maybe a little less than 3/8, or even just 1/4 is enough. So I have to cut through my fence here, and then I'll set this. I have to lower it to set the depth, so we'll do that. I forgot I couldn't lower this down because the motor hits the box here, but so I got it set up on these blocks, and then I've cut this fence for this dado. So all I got to do, then I use my marks and just line that up, and then I'll just double check when I'm cutting. I just kind of eyeball that it's hitting in the center, which this dado is a little bigger now, so I'm basically going to come in, and the middle of each blade is going to be right on the mark. So I just kind of eyeball that as I go, and we cut a sample before, and where we have a little bit thicker on the sides for strength. But so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and cut all these now, and you see the dado action. And this saw, these can be some people think can be very dangerous, and I think they're right, they definitely can be, but you know, you just want to always put back pressure on it, and just be very careful that this is a big cutting thing, and you also don't want it to catch and lunge forward, so you kind of want to stand off to the side. So the trick here is just to line these up good without, you know, we don't want to screw up this cut too much. So let's just go ahead and cut them, and you see how it to reset this. Nice, I got this joiner a while back. So just for this reason, to cut wide boards, it's a 12-inch joiner. So I'm gonna basically flatten the bottom of all these. Some of them have quite a curve to it, so I'll run them through, flatten the bottom, and then we'll plane them down. I think our large dado gave us about 7/8. So we'll go ahead and cut all these, and then we'll plane them, and then we'll have to cut them to length, and that'll be about it for putting this assembly together.
I've been driving this train, years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la.
Got those bottom jointed pretty well. Ran them through the planer several times and just creeped up on the cut. Now we were a little too tight at first and we shaved a little bit more, so now it's fitting just perfect. And some of them might be a hair loose, some of them might be a little tight, but anyway, it's fitting in our grooves. And I figured out the length measurement, and so I'm just gonna square one side and then I'll set up a stop. So just square one side and then cut them to length. So that's what I'm going to do now.
Eyes need a cup of blend, that's right. In the AM, that's my only friend. No light, just the sun coming up on the horizon. I lose track of time, yeah, I move fast and climb. A new class divine, yeah, true passion shines. And I'm through passing time, I choose stacking dimes. You snooze half the time while I move passing by. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capped in space. I won't stop till I hear him say, oh, oh, la, 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 la.
Well, welcome back. This is multiple days later. We forgot to film most of this, but we painted, put the cabinet together, and the glue up was kind of a pain. Painted it, a couple coats. I made the top separately. I've got, it's an extra an inch in the back, and anyway, it's about 13 and a half wide instead of 11 and a quarter. So we're gonna put the trim up here, and it has basically about a half-inch overhang. So anyway, that's the top shelf. I added a board. I added a board to that. So we set it in here. We shimmed it. Didn't need too much, but we shimmed it to make it level. So it's level, real nice, and then it's plumb. It's plumb this way, real nice. And then we shimmed it here and just nailed a couple nails into the lath and plaster. We have lath and plaster here, so that's plenty to hold it. So basically, it's all in there nailed. A couple of nails down here too. And right now we're gonna nail this board on, and then we got base trim cut. We cut out the quarter round right here, so we got base trim and a trim board here, which we might need to add a little nailing block. And then our side pieces, which we gotta take a profile of. The side pieces are gonna come right here, overlap a little, and then we'll cut this profile around. So anyway, that's the update, and so we're gonna get this put together and then trim it, finish it, and it's gonna be good. So. Okay. All right, so I'm working on this trim piece right now, getting the profile to cut out this side trim. We have this trim here, and it's gonna overlap. It's 2 1/4 because over here was the biggest point, which is about 2 1/8. So anyway, that's what we're doing. I miscut this. I had a momentary lapse of reasoning or something. I miscut this when I was at the garage, so now it's short. So we got a new one we're painting. But we're putting this trim up here to the wall, and then, you know, this measuring from just measuring from the top of that base to the trim. Anyway, so that's this piece that we're doing now. But when I get the new one, it'll get nailed. We'll just nail this in. We might put a nailing block back here or something. I'm not sure. But anyway, I cut this other side already, and it came out okay, but you know, I probably should have snuck up on it. I took the line instead of leaving the line, so it was kind of a mistake. But this is gonna get caulked anyway. So this just goes here. And so it's cut around that base, and then it's gonna sit just like this, and then that trim will be up here. So that's the kind of built-in look, and we'll just caulk the joint. So this one is acceptable, but anyway, so here's how I'm getting this profile from lining up right here from where that piece is gonna be, right on the bottom, and then trying to keep it square, and then pushing in nice and even, like this, all the way to the wall. Just trying to make sure everything stays nice and straight. And then basically, last time I lined up this edge with the wood, but it doesn't matter because I'll just make sure it looks kind of straight. I think I can go in on the bottom a little bit more. Anyway, that's the profile right there. And then I'll measure from this point on the profile to where, so from here to where this trim is going to come. The trim is going to come in at like 2 1/4. So right here, 2 1/4, which seems like a lot, but it's because of that other side, and it'll look fine. And look, so 2 1/4 is our trim. Okay, and then 2 1/4, and then so from this edge here, this is about 1.5 inches, maybe a little less. So 1.5 inches. So I'm gonna cut this piece and then mark it out. I'm gonna cut my straight piece first, so figure that out. Set my profile right on here, all the way to the bottom. Last time it seemed like it ended up a little bit higher, so it changed the height. It was almost like it cut too high, so I'm going to drop this down a little bit. So that's the start of the profile, and the rest I'm going to the wall right here. This represents the wall, so I'll just mark that. I'm just going to mark this a lot without obstructing the profile right here. Last time it cut way big, so I probably cut on the wrong side of the line. That's probably what happened. And so this time I cut from, here's our waist, cut from the inside. That'll probably come out better. And then still, it's workable. Anyway, roughly mark this out. So I could take the line. Basically, I'll leave a little bit of the line. You know, the line is a 32nd inch or whatever. So this is marked out. So this time I'm gonna try to cut less. But anyway, there's the profile marked, and then I'm gonna cut that out. Okay, there we got it cut. Now, see how it fits. Hopefully, yeah, this one's better. So, better. You just take a little nip out of that. So that's how the first one should have gone. I think I cut on the wrong side of the line. That's how it's supposed to work. Something like that. Even up here is a little big. You know, that should have less, but so that's acceptable. But well, there it is, all finished. Turned out really nice, I think. Look at I like the thicker shelves here. We used, we bought stair treads for this, which were only $10 each. It's a good deal. And they were about 1 inch thick. We milled them down. And so it's in there. The trim, the coping, the paint's still drying on it, but it looks good. It looks built in, and it's done. I like it. Also, you know, this is no backing board, so you see the wall through it, and maybe it gives it some airflow for books. But anyway, so it's all done. It turned out, I think it turned out really nice, and it's sturdy. It looks built in. The trim is nice. And then the idea here was we're maybe gonna add, you could add a second bank on top of this, which would be just the straight shelves and then just the side trim. So it would look kind of like a piece of furniture. So, but nice straight shelves, the dados, you know, it's strong, shim, and then the trim, everything tied in, just looks really good. So that one's done, and we're gonna move on to some other projects.